Good day everyone. Today we will talking about Tolman's Purposive Behaviorism. Purposive Behaviorism emphasizes the role of cognitive process in guiding behavior. Purposeful behavior. Behavior is goal-directed and motivated by internal cognitive process. So, purposeful behavior. This theory possesses that behavior is goal-directed. Organize don't just randomly react, they act with purpose. So next is cognitive maps. So cognitive maps, mental representations of the environment that allow individuals to navigate and solve problems. So cognitive maps refer to mental representation that individuals create in their mind to help them understand, organize, and navigate their environment. So these maps allows people to make decisions, solve problems, and remember spatial and non-spatial information about the world around them. So cognitive maps are essential for a variety of daily activities such as navigating through a city, recalling the layout of a building, or planning a route for travel. So they are product of cognitive process such as perceptions, memory, and reasoning. Next is latent learning. So learning that occurs without immediate reinforcement, demonstrating the importance of internal mental process. So latent learning refers to a form of learning that occurs without any obvious reinforcement or immediate behavioral change. This concept was first demonstrated by Edward Tolman in the 1930s. So, who conducted experiment with rats in maze? Tolman showed that the rats could navigate the maze without any reward during learning process, but once a reward or such as food was introduced, the rats display knowledge of the maze. So, suggesting they had learned in previously even though no reinforcement had been given. So next is Tolman experiment with rats in maze provided evidence for the existence of cognitive maps and latent learning, challenging traditional behaviorist views that focus solely on observable stimuli and response. So Tolman's experiment were groundbreaking because they challenged the dominant behaviorist perspective of the time. So behaviorism, it is purest form, focused solely on observable stimuli and response, neglecting internal mental process. So next is Tolman other silent principle. So behavior is always purposive. So behavior is always purposive. This is a fundamental shift from traditional behaviorism. So next is behavior is cognitive. So behavior is cognitive. This principle emphasizes the role of mental processes in shaping behavior. Then number 3 is reinforcement establishes and confirms expectations. So, reinforcement establishes and confirms expectations. This principle clarifies the role of reinforcement in Tolman's theory.
Good day everyone! In this video, I'm going to discuss you about Bandura'S social learning theory. So, according to Akers and Jensen 2006, under the social learning theory, learning occurs within the social context by observing and copying others' behavior or imitation. So, meaning, social learning theory means we learn by watching and copying others. So, for instance, a child sees their older siblings to get praise for sharing their toys. So, the childs then start sharing their toys more often, hoping to receive the same praise. Next is, according to Mason 1983, modeling was equated with imitation, but modeling is more inclusive concept. So, People used to think that modeling meant simply copying someone else's actions. However, since 1983 explained that modeling is a broader concept that includes more than just imitation. So it includes learning from observing others even if we don't copy them exactly. Bandura'S theory is also called the social cognitive theory because of the influence of cognition in his theory. So meaning, it is called the social cognitive theory because it emphasizes how people learn by observing others and thinking about their own experiences. Bandura'S theory also states about self-efficacy. So, self-efficacy is defined as one's evaluations of his or her own ability to accomplish or perform an actions in a particular context. So, self-efficacy is simply believing in your own ability to do something. So, it's about how confident you feel you can accomplish a specific task. There are 8 fundamentals principle of social learning theory. So first is one may learn without changing his or her behavior. So you can learn something new just by watching and listening. So even if you don't try it yourself yet. So for instance, you watch a documentary about different cultures and learn about their greetings. So even though you haven't bowed or shaken your hands with someone new yet, you've gained knowledge. Second is learning takes place by imitating a model. So the example of this is that when you see your friend wearing a whole new hairstyle and you decided also to get the same haircut to look similar. So third, an observing person will always react to the one being imitated depending on whether the model is rewarded or punished. So this means that we are more likely to imitate someone's behavior if we see them being rewarded for it, and less likely to imitate it if they are punished. The example of this is that if you see your classmates raising their hands to answer a question and getting praised by the teacher, so you might be more likely to raise your hand in the future. So conversely, if you see your classmates getting scolded for talking out of turn, so you might be less likely to do the same. For this, acquiring and performing behavior are different. So the example of this is you take a swimming class and learn the proper stroke. So that is acquiring. However, being able to confidently swim laps in a pool requires practice. So that is performing. Fifth is interaction is vital for successful social learning. So, example is discussing a group project with classmates helps you understand different perspectives and learn from each other's ideas. So, next is learning is self-regulated. So, you can set your own goals and pace yourself when you're learning something new. So, example, you set a study schedule and find a quiet places to focus, taking control of your own learning process. So 7 is learning maybe vicariously. So you can learn something by watching someone else experience it even if it doesn't happen to you directly. So for example, you watch your older siblings struggle through a math problem and learn from their mistakes. So avoiding similar errors when you do the same problem. So lastly, learning may be reinforced by the model or by others. So learning can be made stronger by positive feedback either from a teacher or from other people. So example, imagine you're learning to ride a bike. So your parents cheer you on and encourage you when you're trying to balance. So this makes you more motivated to keep practicing. So your friends might also cheer you on, which further boosts your confidence and makes you want to learn faster. There are 4 components of successful modeling. First is attention. To meaningfully perceive relevant behaviors, one should pay attention. For instance, is watching a tutorial video carefully to learn a new dance move. So second is retention. Paying attention to something should result in retention that requires cognitively organizing, rehearsing, coding, and transforming modeled information for storage in memory. So, once you've paid attention, you need to remember what you've seen. So, example is practicing a new skill mentally to solidify in your memory or taking notes during a lecture. So, third is production. To strengthen learning through observation, one needs to translate the visual and symbolic conceptions into observable behavior. So you need to be able to do what you've observed. So example, trying out a new recipe after watching a cooking show. So lastly is motivation. Influencing observational learning is motivation. So you need to be motivated to learn and practice. Example is wanting to improve a basketball skills to play in the school team, or learning a new language to travel to a foreign country.